Hey everybody. When I was walking through the grocery store today, I stumbled upon what looked to be one of the greatest values I've seen in a long time. Now, granted, this wasn't on sale, but these were some short ribs that were marked as choice, and okay, they're choice. But I feel really sorry for that farmer that raised up this cattle, put all of that effort, all of that energy into these ribs, and for it to get marked as choice, when what I'm seeing looks very much like some prime short ribs. I'm going to take advantage of that and see what we can do with this today. So let's see what's going on. There were a lot of lessons I took away from the cook today, and so hopefully you guys can learn something from it and carry it with you in your cooks. First, we're going to go ahead and put down some Worcestershire sauce on the beef ribs. I tend to like to put a little binder down just so I have something for the salt and the seasonings to stick to. I know that some folks can get away with not putting it down, but I'm just kind of a creature of habit and just like to put some Worcestershire sauce down. Next, we're going to hit it with a little bit of kosher salt just to try and draw a little bit of the moisture out of the meat, but also to add to the tenderness. And so, salt's always good. Our rub today is going to be Oakridge barbecue. We're going with the Black Ops brisket rub. Thought this would be pretty good on these short ribs. It's kind of in rare supply in my house because they've stopped making the rub now. Matter of fact, the company has stopped operating. But I figure with some pretty good ribs that this might go well with the beef. So just wanted to try that out today. I will add that one thing I could have done in this step that would have made the end product a lot better would be to trim some of the fat off of the top layer of the ribs, because when I took a bite out of the ribs after I cooked them, got a huge bite of fat, and that it's never really a great feeling after doing a cook. So that's something that I would do next time different, is just go ahead and trim off a layer of that fat so I'm getting more meat in my bite. Before I put in a new set of coals, I always try to take out all the remaining ash from a prior cook. And so we go ahead and get that out of the smoker and get that into my metal garbage pail down below. And then we can go ahead and get started with our coals. Today I'm using the B&B charcoal. They're char logs. They last a lot longer and they have a pretty good heat source to them. They've worked really well for me on longer cooks, and so I'm going to go ahead and use those, just a full chimney full of those, and get my fire started. Not really concerned about the type of wood that I'm using today. Just have mixed hardwood, which is going to have some cherry, a little bit of oak, and some hickory. So just a pretty good mix of wood, just whatever I have in the stack. Small victory today. I was able to get the fire going without having to use my Blue Little fan. It's hit or miss. I'm glad I have the fan, but today I didn't really need it, so that worked out well. Every now and then people ask me about smoke escaping from the pit, and I figured, showing you guys with smoke fully going, just where smoke might be leaking. It really not coming out of the plancha, but there is a hole below the fire pit, below the smoke chamber, I should say, where smoke can escape. And as things are really smoky, you can see some of that escaping. So I just wanted to show that to everybody so that you could see, okay, well, here's where smoke is getting out of the pit. But to be honest with you, it's not really been much of a problem for me. The smoker burns incredibly efficiently, and as you can see, it has no problem keeping and holding temperatures. Burning clear. Let's see what we got. Oh, looked like we made too big of a fire. About 375. We have to wait for this to come back down before we do anything. Feeling a little impatient today with getting this temperature back down, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up the pit and let some of that hot air out. That way we can kind of get temperatures down to where we can put food on the smoker. Temperatures are back down to about 300, so we can go ahead and put these short ribs on the smoker and get this cook started. After about 45 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and check on the ribs, see how they're looking, see if there's anything I need to adjust or make changes to. But when I open up the smoker, everything's looking pretty good. Color's coming out nice. You're starting to see a little bit of the darkening on top. Bones are pulling, and the meat's pulling back a little bit from the bones. And now it's time just to spritz and see if we can get a little bit more color and get some more of that smoke to adhere to the meat. But everything's looking great so far. My checks are about every 45 minutes, roughly whenever I need to change a log and just check on the fire. I'll go ahead and check on the meat as well. Just looking for color again, and we're going to go ahead and spritz and make sure everything's okay. For the spritz, I'm using apple cider vinegar, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and water as a mixture there. Color's looking great, so I'm pretty excited about where this is going, and it looks like it's going to come out pretty good. And here's where things started getting a little bit weird for me, because temperatures were going different across the different meats. I had, like 150s, 160s on some of the meats. And then when I checked the meat that was closer to the fire, it was temping at 200. Now, the issue here was that I think that when I probed it, I probed into a fat pocket. And so that fat pocket actually came in at a higher temperature than the rest of the meat. And so I incorrectly assumed that the meat was getting pretty close to done. I should have gone in further and gotten a better probe of the food before I actually decided to pull it off. But I was excited and pulled it off here. And as a result, we had some meat that probably wasn't all the way done yet, as we'll see later. I haven't done an on-camera taste test in a long time. And so I figured let's go ahead and give it a try and see how these short ribs turned out. They look delicious. If you kind of take a look at the coloring, just the crust, everything turned out the way you'd expect for it to. I'm really glad about just kind of the reddish color and everything. So really interested in what this tastes like. Here we go. Got a piece of fat there. Let me try another one. Freeze right here. It's at this moment that I realize that I'm not getting invited to the cookout with this dish at all. Yes, the picture looks great, but the food, the bite, just wasn't there. This has to go back on the grill because it's not ready for everybody to eat. It's done, but it's not tender. The final product actually ended up tasting pretty good just about an hour later. So took a little bit longer than I expected, but everything turned out well. Well, you made it to the end. You might make it to the end of another one of my videos. Why don't you check one of those out below? Take it easy.